Welcome to Your In Depth. Real quick, drop a comment and let us know how you pronounce tilapia.
Oh my gosh.
This is random. This was entirely random, but it was based on a different thing. I can let Evan maybe explain later. It doesn't matter. What we do here on this podcast is we walk through and break down our favorite fictional universes. Right now, we're going through the Clone Wars. And so we are on the Mortis arc. It takes place in season 3. I don't remember the episodes, but I am Jacob, and I'm here joined by Evan, the
Episodes 15
mispronouncing
through 17.
individual. Say that again?
Episodes 15 through 17.
Yeah, 15 through whatever you said.
17. There you go, buddy.
Sorry, yeah. That was a weird way to start off the episode, but Evan here has never heard that word pronounced out loud until recently. And so he mispronounced it, but we're just trying to see what do you guys so phonetically spell it out is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Evan, what are we doing here?
I don't know how you want me to answer that question.
I want you to solve problems.
Solve the question of life.
Yeah. No, I'm a tiny bit out of it. So we're just going to proceed. As usual, we do kind of a summary and then we have an ad break and then we're going to get into the body of our episode. Purpose of the summary is so that, we're on the same page, what content we're covering and what we're talking about. The purpose of the ad is I have a problem and I think it's fun. And then the purpose of the rest, or actually the rest, is going to be a little different this episode. So rather than talking about key points that we've noticed and things that we've liked and all that, we've come up with some discussion questions that we think might be good, whether it be through Google or searching, finding, good discussion questions centered around these episodes. And we're just going to go through those instead. So,
Yeah.
For sure, let us know what you think of that once it's done. But let's get into it. So, the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars follows Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka as they are drawn to a mysterious force anomaly that transports them to a strange realm known as Mortis, a place where the Force is unnaturally strong and seemingly embodied by 3 powerful beings: the Father, who represents balance, the Daughter, who represents the light side, and the Son, who embodies the dark side. The Father tests Anakin and determines that he is indeed the chosen one, capable of controlling both light and dark, and asks him to remain on Mortis to take his place in maintaining balance. Anakin refuses, setting off a chain of events where the Son attempts to escape Mortis and spread darkness across the galaxy. In the process, Ahsoka is captured and corrupted by the Son, forcing Anakin into a devastating confrontation that leads to her death, though she is later revived, when the Daughter sacrifices her own life force. As the balance of Mortis begins to collapse, the Son shows Anakin a vision of his future as Darth Vader, pushing him towards the dark side out of fear and desperation. Although Anakin briefly gives in, the Father intervenes and erases his memory of the vision. In the final confrontation, the Father sacrifices himself to weaken the Son, allowing Anakin to kill him and restore balance. The realm of Mortis then fades, and the 3 Jedi awaken back in their ship, seemingly with no memory of what had occurred, though the experience lingers as a powerful, symbolic glimpse into Anakin's destiny and the true nature of balance in the Force.
Yeah.
If in the case that you needed a refresher, that is the episode that we are covering, the set. We'll do a quick ad break and get into our discussion. Today's episode is brought to you by Holocron Plus, the galaxy's #1 secure storage solution. Because when a mysterious force god shows you your entire tragic future, maybe don't just rely on your memory. With Holocron Plus, you can safely store visions, secrets, and emotionally devastating revelations. And unlike Anakin, you can revisit them later and make better choices. Holocron Plus. Remember what matters before it gets wiped for plot reasons.
Yeah.
So thanks to Holocron Plus, back up your stuff.
Man, too bad Anakin didn't have that. That probably would have saved so many problems.
Yeah. It would have been better. That was abnormally quiet. Was that way for you?
It sounded pretty good. It sounded good on my end.
Okay. Oh, I now see a section where I can actually up the volume of that. So that's something I'll have to note for next time. But either way, we can fix that in editing so any listener wouldn't even have noticed that it was quiet. It doesn't matter. Let's go. What's our first discussion question, Evan?
So I don't
know why I did that.
Question posed by us is
by Evan. He is a poser.
Well, the first question, though, is what is Mortis? Is it a real place, a force vision, something beyond both, something other than both, but not necessarily, beyond or more grand? What is it? How would we define it?
Yeah. You have the questions in front of you, so how do you want to handle this? You obviously read them, but do you want to take the first stab at it, or do you want to read them and then have me go first and then we chat?
I would say you go first and kind of give your answer, and then I can give mine, and we can discuss after that.
So, my interpretation of Mortis is that it is kind of this. Obviously, it's an embodiment of the Force. It's kind of it's supposed to be symbolic of how things are balanced and in all of that. As far as it being a physical place, I think so. I think it probably is because of how it's obviously from a viewer standpoint. I mean, all parties involved don't remember it or are dead. And so obviously we're talking from our standpoint. I mean, it's a shared experience amongst our main characters there. That doesn't seem like it's just some kind of, I don't know, metaphoric, like not literal place. I think it's both literal and symbolic.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to think of how they even got there. Did they like enter?
Well, and that's what I was looking up, truthfully.
Because I think it's depicted as a physical place. I don't think that they just like passed out and then the Force took over,
right? And
like kind of showed them through this. I think it is a physical location that they showed up on.
Yeah, and from what I'm looking at here, it's like it reminds me. So basically, the scene where Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka find Mortis. They're in their ship, and the scene we see as the viewer, I can't remember if they're like knocked out at this point or not, because they all like wake up on Mortis. But the image here is like their ship, their little transport cruise or whatever you want to call it, flying up to this strange object just out in space that kind of looks like a mix of a Jedi and a Sith holocron. Because like the Jedi holocron is square, the Sith holocron is like a pyramid. Whereas this is like, I guess truthfully, it more so looks like two Sith holocrons, like bases put together. Because it looks like a giant like diamond, essentially.
All that's coming to mind right now is No Man's Sky, because I can't remember. It's been a little bit since I've seen these episodes, and I tried to get time to do a refresher, and I just couldn't. That's all that's coming to mind.
Yeah.
Is when you find the anomaly. and you go into it.
I'll send you a quick just picture, just so you kind of have the image that I'm looking at. But with this image, it definitely gives off the impression that this is an actual location, right?
Yeah.
But it's not just a planet. It almost gives off like spaceship vibes, or almost like, I imagine almost like Death Star type vibes, where it's like
that's
Mortis
100%.
is a real place, but it's not going to be in the same location that it's always in. It's going to move around, only allowing those near it that it wants near it, type of thing. But at the same time, the events on Mortis...
I need to relearn my shapes. The anomaly in No Man's Sky is just a giant sphere.
Oh.
Same concept, but not the same shape. Go for it. Keep talking.
But so I would say it's a real place, but the events inside of this, I'm just going to call it Death Star-esque type location, because I don't really know what to classify it as. I would say the place itself is real, but the events inside give off more akin to like a hallucination or force visions type of feel to me. So it was kind of like you said, where it kind of, I would say almost both. It's a very strange place, and I can't think of a single place in any other Star Wars media where we see anything like it.
Yeah.
Because without going too far into it, obviously, like just the world between worlds is something on its own, completely different than what this is, and even that's weird. But they're both very weird, very strange. But I don't know if there's really a connection between the two.
I mean, well, actually, there is a direct connection, though. Remember the artwork on the, like, outside of the way in? It's literally these three characters.
I guess I should be more specific. I don't think, because yes, that would obviously there's a direct connection via the characters, the father, the son, and the daughter. I think I would... See, now I'm kind of like thinking through it in my head as we're talking.
I would imagine that's probably what you should do in a discussion.
Right, right. But like, I'm going to say something and then backtrack on it because I'm working through it. I don't have like a pre-established answer.
Nope, it's fine. Take your time. I'll wait.
But no, because like you said, and again, not to get too far into the world between worlds, because we'll cover that once we get to those episodes in Star Wars Rebels. But the two, Mortis and that, are related, like you said, because of the depictions of the father, son, and the daughter, and then obviously here we have their physical beings themselves. But I don't think the physical location of the world between worlds itself and Mortis itself are directly linked. I think it's more of just the characters are the only thing linking the two together, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
I mean, no, okay, so I get what you're saying, and I'm where my mind is going. I don't know if I agree. But I don't think that you're, I think you're making sense.
I guess I would probably say,
yeah.
Like, I don't think you can get to one via the other.
Like, you don't think you could go into the world between worlds and locate Mortis?
Correct.
I mean,
don't
part of it is 100% true, because doesn't Mortis totally get borked?
I'm pretty sure. I truthfully, I'd have to double check the ending of the third episode.
Well, the characters are at least dead, but
yeah. But let me just do a quick double check because Ghost of Mortis. Because the thing is, if Mortis itself just gets yoinked as gone,
well,
I would
way,
then wonder
either
if
way,
that leads to
detracting.
like the world between worlds kind of
Yeah,
forming
this
or
is a separate
solidifying.
discussion as is. I
Yeah.
mean, so is it? I stick by my answer of thinking it's both. I don't know if the events on it happen for sure or whatever, and in the end, I don't think it matters. This, I think it's a physical location they go to. I think probably all these things unfold, but it is purely also, or it's also symbolic, obviously, of the balance in the force and how things have to be. And I guess, well, without spoiling another discussion question coming up that I'm more interested in. I think both.
Okay. I think my last kind of point on what Mortis is, and again, this is even between us. This is all just kind of speculation because we don't get anything else from Mortis or about Mortis,
No,
unless there's
I
a
can- I
book
can
out there
surely-
that I haven't found. You know,
I can surely tell you what we don't get, and it's an hour and a half back.
yeah. But the one thing I will say with it though
yeah,
is that
I'll ask after this question. Go for it.
once the arc ends and Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka are no longer on Mortis, they get contacted by Captain Rex to like get picked up, you know, and they find out that like as far as Rex is concerned, only moments have passed, even though they're there for days on the planet, and so like that in itself just leads to a more mystical, strange
Yeah, but these
location
figures
that
are
possibly is not
are-
even.
these figures are
physical.
solely connected or very connected to that whole world between worlds idea. So it's like they very
Right.
well could have just freaking hopped in and
Yeah,
opt
because it's
out.
like I think we're talking about is it Interstellar, where a couple of the characters go on the planet near a black hole,
yes,
and then they get
Yeah,
back
and
to
it
their ship
passes.
eventually, and like years have
Correct.
passed because they were so close.
yeah,
So I mean, I
I have
guess
to
like
say
something
this.
like
So-
that.
yeah.
could have been
I have
going
to say
on.
this too because slight sidestep to Interstellar. It is by far my all-time favorite movie. I will cry every single time and think it is an amazing movie. Did you know that in that scene, when they are on the planet of whatever, the one right next to the black
Right.
hole, the sound, the music that it's set to, there's like almost this mechanical ticking,
Hmm.
and it's like set, I want to say every 7 seconds, and that represents a year
Oh, okay.
or something like that. It's
Yeah.
like in the freaking sound
Yeah.
and in the track, it's like showing it's crazy in depth. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
that movie's been on my mind a lot lately because I just went and saw Project Hail Mary,
okay.
and I feel like there's a lot of nods to it in that. But anyway,
Yeah. I haven't seen Project Hail Mary yet, but I'm hoping to go see it sometime soon.
yeah,
But no, my whole point in bringing up Interstellar was like the time passing
yeah,
because the planet was so
that
close to the
concept
black
and that.
hole. Yeah.
Yes, and it could be.
Now, of
something
course, you know,
I
like
suppose
Interstellar
similar.
doesn't have the Force to, manipulate things and whatnot. So, I mean, the Force works in mysterious ways. And like you mentioned, the world between worlds is such a weird place where time is like convoluted and
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
and stuff. But I think kind of where we both, I would say, land on this question is real location, but there is definitely like Force Vision-esque stuff going on there. Kind of there but not there type situation. Because I mean, once at the end of the episode, like Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan remember the events of Mortis, or in Anakin's case, most of the events of Mortis. So like in that sense,
Yeah.
there's definitely a real, I want to say reality, but like a realness to the place.
Yeah.
But with that, getting into the 3 new characters introduced in this arc, the father, the daughter, and the son, kind of going in the same vein. Are they manifestations of the Force, or are they physical beings, or are they something else? How do we kind of try and define these 3
Once again, I feel like because we see that their depiction elsewhere, they are, I think, physical beings or somehow like Force deities or something weird. I don't know, but something to where their presence and stuff is widespread. Because isn't it in Ahsoka when they jump to a different galaxy, you see statues of these guys?
Yeah, you see, I believe it's the father and the son in the Ahsoka series.
Yeah.
Because we don't actually get a shot of the daughter. Which, I mean, the events that unfold on Mortis, like, she gone. She dead.
Well, they all are. I mean,
yeah.
In that sense.
But I guess in the sense of, like, she's the first one to die.
Yeah.
Which is why I would kind of give them a station akin to... I don't know if I would say like demigods in the sense of like Greek mythology or like the Greek gods. Because like within Greek mythology, or I guess in the God of War games is kind of what my mind goes to whenever I think of Greek mythology. Because the whole basis of those games is main character wants revenge against the gods and actually kills gods. But obviously them being gods, they're super powerful and can do all this crazy stuff. So I would kind of attribute these 3 to that, where yes, they're physical beings, like you said. They're just super souped up, max level power characters. Because again, we do see them die. And I mean, I think the only way we could really change our minds on that would be if something came out saying, you 3 were just on shrooms and Mortis wasn't real. You just had like a group hallucination. I think like that's the only way
group trip.
I feel like you could make an argument to say that the father, daughter, and son are not physical beings of some sort.
I feel like I would probably attribute them to that then, or just like very focused embodiments of these elements of the Force.
And that does make me wonder, though, and because I've heard theories about this, but I don't think there's anything actually confirming said theories. Abeloth. I'm assuming you're familiar with that in Star Wars lore.
I know the name. I know that word. I can't picture what it is.
And I'm going to say this with the caveat. I'm not sure if Abeloth is still considered canon or not. But at the very least, within Legends, Star Wars, Abeloth was this woman that was super powerful in the Force, but got corrupted by it, and she has like this super elongated like mouth with like serrated teeth and whatnot. And in Legends, Luke battles her and basically has to trap her in a swarm of black holes just to contain her. Because for anybody that hasn't delved into any Legends Star Wars, Luke is like insanely OP in Legends Star Wars, where he moves black holes with the Force. But I've heard theories that like Abeloth would be considered the mother to the father, son, and daughter.
Okay.
And I mentioned that because I was sitting here thinking, it's like, they've got the names of the father, the daughter, and the son, but like, we see they are mortal. But where would you? Were they normal people that ascended to quote unquote godhood, or like
Is
what
that
is
what
their
Abeloth's
origin?
kind of origin is? Is that what you said? Or she kind of ascended to being then eventually corrupted?
I want to double check, so I don't want to give the wrong information.
That's fine.
I don't
Yeah,
want...
why start
Dungeons
giving
and
wrong
Dragons.
information now? We haven't been wrong before.
Okay. So Abeloth, self-styled as the beloved queen of the stars, also known as the bringer of chaos and the destructor, was an extremely powerful force entity. Her dark side powers and immortality derived from her being corrupted by drinking from the font of power and bathing in the pool of knowledge. She first lived as the serpent, a mortal woman who served the powerful ones on a jungle planet over 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. She eventually became the mother, keeping the peace between the father's warring son and daughter as part of the family. However, she grew old while the father and their children did not. She feared she would lose her power, so she went and drank from the font of power and bathed in the pool of knowledge. Her actions corrupted her, transforming the mother into the twisted immortal entity known as Abeloth. That is via Wikipedia, by the way.
Okay, so there you go. There's the connection.
Yeah, there's the connection there, but based off of this, Abeloth, or once known as the Mother, was a mortal that then became immortal, aka the Mother, who then thought she was getting old, who then basically pulled the Adam and Eve thing, eating from the tree of knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Thus corrupting and...
But that still then makes me wonder, where did the father come from? Because the son and the daughter would then presumably be the offspring of the mother, Abeloth, and the father. But what is the father's origins? Which I don't...
Yeah.
I'm going to do a quick Google search and not spend too much time on it. But I'm just curious at this point.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm pretty sure I just yawned like 12 times in the last 2 minutes. I'm a tired boy, and I don't know why.
Maintain between them.
I know why, because it's freaking 10:30 at night, and I'm 30.
Even Wikipedia doesn't give like an actual origins.
Yeah.
It just says he was a male individual who's a member of a force-wielding family known as the Ones. But it doesn't actually give like where he came from.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is really interesting because there's so many origins to just about any character you can think about in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Including the daughter and the son, but the father doesn't have kind of an origin story from what I can see.
Real quick, because we were talking about this family dynamic and it being balanced and all this stuff. I saw this freaking meme today that made me laugh for way longer than it should. It was the scene of Thanos having the little dial thing where, and he's like in that orangey kind of world, and he's like looking at it to the young Gamora. And there's text on one side of it, and it says 10,000 Jedi. And then on the other side, it says 0 Sith. And it shows him, and he's like, yes, perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Should be. And it like zooms in on his face, and it's like the Jedi Council or whatever, and it's just like a clown. But anyway.
I think it's funny that you bring that up, though, because one of the things I did want to comment on in this episode, because this episode raised a lot of questions as to what balance in the Force actually is, just because of the depiction of the son and the daughter. And so I just did a look up just so I could give it, like, from the mouth of the creator of Star Wars, George Lucas himself, Though this arc threw out the question of what does true balance in the Force mean, according to the creator of this whole freaking universe, balance is no dark side users, only light side users.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Coming from his lips, that's what it is.
Doesn't really make sense.
Not on the surface level, but once you look into what the Force is and how it works, and what the dark side is and what the light side is, the light side is just going with the flow of the Force, doing what its will is, whereas the dark side is like manipulating it to what you want.
Is like resistance.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Okay.
But it's really interesting that Dave Filoni and them went with this the way they did and kind of somewhat imploded balance of the Force to a lot of people's minds when they saw this arc. Because realistically, per George Lucas, if Mortis was like the Force incarnate, right? The sun just shouldn't be there, and it would be in balance. like the sun just shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Which then leads to more kind of questions and stuff, because if that's the case, do the father, the son, and the daughter then represent the power of Force users in the wider world? Like, does the daughter derive her power from all the light side users, the son from the dark side users, and that's why the son is so much more powerful, because he's got like Darth Sidious that he's drawing power from?
Yeah. Here's a question just in this, and I wonder your opinion on it. So we have, just looking at the balance of stuff, obviously, light side Jedi, Force users go with the flow, and there's no resistance there. Sith try to bend it to achieve their own will. There's resistance, obviously, and there's that creating issues.
Yeah.
Where do the Nightsisters fall into this? Because they're like, I mean, it's like, oh, it's an ancient magic. It's still the Force. And so are they pulling it for their own? They're not really going with the flow fully. So, like, how do they play it?
Right.
Because we just talked about that Dathomir arc not too long ago. And so
based off of what we see of the Nightsisters, from all the way from Clone Wars all the way to the Ahsoka show, right? Because we do get a little bit of that in the Ahsoka show. I would have to go with dark side users, but not Sith. Because, Sith is just a title of a group.
Right.
But the Nightsisters definitely are using that for their own ends. There's no way they're going with the flow of the Force. There's no way they're, like, following its will. They're just going about it in more of a witch rituals type of way, would be my opinion on that.
Yeah. I'm kind of leaning towards that. So that, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the Nightsisters are weird.
I don't like them. That any storyline with them, I'm not a fan of.
The only plus I will give the Nightsisters.
Hold on, real quick. I changed my mind. In Tales of the Jedi, I think it is, when we get the storyline of what was her name?
Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah. When we get her origins, that was my favorite.
The only acceptable Nightsister story.
Yeah.
If someone hasn't seen that, go check it out, and you will instantly understand what he's talking about. in the first episode of the Morgan Elsbeth origin story little trilogy.
And that was Tales of the Empire, I think. Actually,
I believe
don't
so.
think that was Jedi.
I believe that's Tales of the Empire.
Yeah.
I will say I didn't even think about that one, but yes, that one acceptable.
Yeah, they get slaughtered.
The only other acceptable thing that I like about the Nightsisters is getting Darth Maul and getting more Darth Maul.
Well, yeah, but that's not even the Nightsisters.
The whole process of like leading up to that.
Well, kind of is.
The whole process of leading up to that, not the biggest fan.
Yeah. I did like him in Fallen Order when you could fight him.
I bet you did.
I did. I don't like him.
I did as well. I enjoyed it.
Hey, did you play Jedi Survivor?
Yeah.
That one I haven't played yet. I'm wanting to.
I'm going to be honest. I preferred Fallen Order over Survivor.
That
Survivor
seems
wasn't
to be the
bad by any
general
means.
consensus of it. But I'm still, it's part of the storyline. I still want to, do it.
And again, this is kind of off topic from this arc, but since we're talking about Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor a little bit, I don't know if you go, do you go and watch, the what ifs of, different Star Wars things on YouTube
No,
at
I
all?
do not.
No. I go down that rabbit hole.
I know.
And so many of the what ifs that I end up watching, it's like, what if Anakin did this instead of that? Or what if he, didn't betray the Jedi? So on and so forth. And it always ends with, and the Jedi live happily ever after with, some of the telltale Jedis like Obi-Wan and Yoda and Ahsoka and Cal Kestis. And it's... And they do it in the sense of Cal Kestis is this insanely OP Jedi because they're only going off of the games. They're not taking into context that this is a video game. The character is going to be overpowered in the video game.
Well, of course, yeah. Look at the Force Unleashed. It's you think it's going to be fun if you struggle?
Yeah, for real. But no, just bringing up Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor just had me thinking of that. Just about every time it's what if the Jedi Temple was alerted to the Order 66 before it happened? Well, some of them still die, but, those really powerful ones like Yoda and Cal Kestis, dude's an apprentice. He's not a Jedi Knight. He's not a Jedi Master. Quit putting him on this, pedestal of power that he's definitely not at. Yeah. It's the same thing with Starkiller from the Force Unleashed games. It's they gotta be OP in those games, otherwise it's boring.
Right. And he for sure freaking was.
Yeah. Yeah, the first game he pulls a Star Destroyer out of orbit.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I need to replay those games. That's what I really need to do. That's fun.
But
once I
anyways,
finally get burnt out of Arc Raiders and stop spending nearly 100 hours playing it, because I am at 97, maybe I'll play those.
Yeah. But back to our discussion questions.
Yeah. Whatever.
I want to do this one, but I feel like that's a good one to end it on. So we'll do our third question here, which is... So in the arc, Anakin sees this vision of him becoming Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
The question, though, is posed, what is the significance of Anakin seeing his future as Darth Vader? And I'm going to expand on that. Is there a significance to him seeing that future because of him not remembering that future by the time they leave?
No.
No significance there.
No, I mean,
I agree with you.
We get his reaction, the turmoil that, this is what I become, but it still friggin' happens and he forgets about it. So cool. Yeah, that's neat. I don't care.
I agree completely. Now, if Anakin retained maybe one image of that future revealed, there'd be significance to that because he'd be wondering what that all is all about. What does that mean for him? So on and so forth. But since he doesn't remember any of it, what was the point? Like, to get an ooh ah from the audience, truthfully, is kind of
That, I mean, really,
like.
yeah.
Because even if he just got this image of like the mask of Darth Vader, he has no other context besides that. There would be a lot of significance to that, a lot of implications to that. And even if he got a little bit more of like seeing himself turn into Darth Vader, you know, like he doesn't know the events leading up to him becoming Darth Vader, but he knows that he does become that. I mean, I feel like that could go in vain with the way the story plays out, you know, with his fall and everything. Yeah. It's like the whole trying to stop the future from happening, but inadvertently causing it type of deal.
Yeah, I think that would be really kind of poetic and cool. Not necessarily poetic, but in the sense, a storyline where he does get that image in his head where it's like Vader's mask. And I'm just picturing like never knowing what the heck it is. And then after episode 3, that realization being like this. That would be wild.
Yeah, if Anakin had this image of the Darth Vader mask in his mind from these events, like, could you imagine him like pouring through the Jedi archives, trying to figure out what this means? You know, like probably coming across descriptions of like previous Sith in their attire, right? And maybe trying to correlate it to that in some way, but never truly having an answer until the mask comes down on his own face.
This is me.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Oh, that'd be heartbreaking. Cool.
That would add. Don't get me wrong. Anakin's story is already tragic, right? It is, but that would just add a whole nother layer of tragedy to it, which would be really cool to see kind of play out.
Yeah.
With that, though, we do also get some instances with Obi-Wan. I don't think there's really any of Ahsoka kind of getting a vision or a visit, right? Like Obi-Wan gets visited by presumably Qui-Gon Jinn in this arc, where he talks with Qui-Gon about, you know, having trained Anakin and fulfilling his promise and whatnot. But I think a question I would pose with that is, did Obi-Wan actually talk to Qui-Gon? Or is this just a weird, like, force trick by the son? You know, like, what do you think that really was? Was it actually Qui-Gon? Was it something else?
Honestly, with this whole arc, I think it could go any freaking direction. I don't know what the intent with it is. Obviously, he ends up chatting with Qui-Gon, but it's not necessarily... I would probably argue that in this case, it's not actually him, but more of like one of those like mental, whether put on him and tricking him or whatever. It just, because later in the Clone Wars, Qui-Gon intentionally shows himself to Yoda.
Yeah.
To teach him, you know, and it's like, I mean, so I guess it's possible he could, but at that point, it almost seems like it's somewhat more of a recent discovery that he can still chat.
Well,
he can still hit up his homies from the grave.
I've seen some arguments taking that instance where Qui-Gon shows himself to Yoda as evidence for this actually being Qui-Gon. But I think I would agree with you that it's not, because everything that we see on Mortis, whether it's the weather, what the characters see, as far as I can tell, it's all created by either the father, the son, or the daughter. Because like the three of them try to leave, and the son literally, I think it's the son or the father, literally like causes a storm that disables their ship.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like with Anakin sees his mother here. In like ghost form. His mother was not Force sensitive or anything. She had zero training, of how to become one with the Force and retain her, her own self.
Right. That one was for sure like a haunting of his past sort of ordeal. And so I do think that the Qui-Gon kind of gets lumped into that.
But yeah,
in my opinion.
I don't think that this was actually Obi-Wan talking with Qui-Gon, but I don't know who of the three would be the ones presenting this Qui-Gon image to Obi-Wan. Because like I could see it being the father, because Obi-Wan talks about or Qui-Gon talks about, you trained Anakin, he is the chosen one, he needs to bring balance. And that would be a very father thing to do, to try and sway Obi-Wan, the one person that Anakin trusts the most at this point. Sway his mentor into leading him down the path the father wants him to go.
Mm-hmm.
But with this, though, like I said, Anakin sees his mother, and there's a really funny interview about this scene with, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name now. He does Starkiller. What? Oh my gosh. I can't think of his name. Jacob, help. Help. Quit sitting there in silence.
What?
I can't think of his name. I'm going to have to go look this up now and feel like an idiot. Oh
Sam
my gosh,
Witwer.
I feel so dumb. Yes, Sam Witwer. Thank you for telling me that right as I hit enter on Google, you little... Oh my gosh. You did that on purpose.
Yes,
Sam Witwer,
yes,
though.
did.
Also, kind of fun fact, Sam Witwer does the voice of the son.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. But there's a really, I think, funny interview with Sam where he's talking about the filming of this arc, and specifically the scene where Anakin sees his mother. And in the original script, it's Anakin says to his mother, I'm married, I have a wife, I want you to meet her. And they filmed it all out, did all the, animation and voice acting for it. And Sam Witwer's brand new to Lucasfilms. And right as they're about to move on to the next,
I think I've seen this.
The next work that they're doing, he raises his hand and Dave Filoni looks at him. He's like, we got to reshoot that because Shmi already met Padme back in episode 1.
Yeah.
And Dave Filoni just got so embarrassed because he's this huge Star Wars nerd, knows it inside and out, and just completely forgot. That one always cracks me up. And the voice actress for Ahsoka, I can't think of her name, but I'm not going to waste time looking it up. Ashley something.
Exteen?
That sounds right. Ashley
something like that?
Esteen, something like that.
It
But
she might be somebody totally different.
She turns to Sam, and she just in a low voice, she's like, "I've never seen someone out nerd Dave Filoni."
Yeah. Ashley Epstein.
I've seen that interview multiple times, just scrolling through TikTok or Facebook or whatever, and every time when I watch it, I just laugh. Cracks me up. I do want to double check though.
Ashley Eckstein is credited in The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, because there at the end when it has the battle between Rey and Palpatine, and Rey hears all the voices of the Jedi. Ahsoka's voice is in there. Yeah,
I see.
But they credit Alec Guinness in that as well because they took a couple scenes from A New Hope and kind of cut them and chopped them up and put them together.
Gotcha.
To include Alec Guinness, his voice in it. But the third character though for this Ahsoka, she does kind of get a Force vision as well, where she sees a like dark side Ahsoka who's trying to like manipulate her and, you know, mess with her mind and stuff, which like is just an obvious influence by the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I feel like that one's fairly self-explanatory, at least to me. It's like the son's trying to use Anakin's own apprentice to turn him to the dark side.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think there's really a whole lot of content there to really delve into and discuss for a prolonged thing. That one's just pretty obvious. I mean, I feel like this is a fairly commonly used trope to like use the apprentice to influence the master, or vice versa, use the master to influence the apprentice. But, and I mean, to their credit, we don't really have a lot on Ahsoka at this point in the Clone Wars, so there's not like, you know, with Anakin and Obi-Wan, you have like Anakin losing his mom and, you know, Obi-Wan losing Qui-Gon and like very influential figures in their lives. We don't got nothing for Ahsoka because this is essentially her origin story, you know. So it's like you could plop her mom in front of her, but Ahsoka probably don't remember her mom, so that's not going to do anything.
Yeah,
but yeah. Our last question, though, unless you had anything else on kind of their own Force visions and stuff, is... Nope. And this is what I'm really curious on your take about, is does Mortis suggest destiny is fixed or flexible? And depending on that, what is the impact of that in your mind? How does that influence your way of looking at Star Wars as a whole?
Well, I mean, the way that I'm kind of taking this, I think it's, I think it is flexible, but I think that the Force or its manifestations are going to continue to try to balance it. Like they're going to continue. Because like in this, right? Anakin is shown his future, but then they're like, no, you don't need to know that. And kind of correct it.
Right.
Because I think that if he knew what he was going to become, he probably would make some changes. However, you know, who knows? Maybe that eventually ends up becoming him anyway. But there's at least a chance that he would not become that. And so there was outside influence. You see it a little bit in the explanation of how the balance of the Force goes, and I don't even know the true thing behind that, but what I've seen before is like it was like tons of light side users reduced down to few, 2 Sith. How does the Force respond? Twins. You know, and it's like trying to always keep a balance. And so it's like, I feel like there is some truth to that, to where throughout it you see the Force or these guys or whatever responding, trying to work it to, you know. And I mean, the Jedi are generally those trying to carry that out because they're the ones following it.
Yeah. I would have to agree with that. The future itself, I would say, is kind of flexible or fluid. But I think the destiny specifically portion of it is fixed.
Okay. Like the timeline of it, the points in time are fixed, but or are flexible.
Yeah.
But the outcome of a specific character tends to be fixed. Do you think? Like they're set in stone?
To an extent, the fixed part I would say is like, at one time or another, the chosen one, through the chosen one, balance will be achieved. Because that's the prophecy. It's not the chosen one will restore balance. It's through the chosen one, balance will be restored. Right? So it's like whether Anakin betrays the Jedi and their numbers get wiped out to maybe 100, or if he stays with the Jedi and they keep their 10,000 plus, that part of it doesn't matter in the sense of one way or another, through Anakin, the destiny of the Force becoming balanced is going to be achieved. It's just when in time is that balance going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like Anakin has free choice here into what he wants to do, but one way or another, at one point in time or another, he's going to cause, he's going to be the reason balance happens. And so it's like, again, like I said, whether it's at the end of episode 3 and he doesn't betray the Jedi and the Sith are wiped out, or if it's at the end of 6 and, he turns back to the light and takes out, Palpatine. Or as much as we hate the frickin' sequel trilogy, right? By that time, the Force is out of balance again through the Chosen One, Anakin. You have, obviously Leia, who then has Ben Solo, who then assists Rey into restoring balance once again. So it's like balance will continue to be restored, but it's more of like how many people are going to have to die for that to happen? Is it going to be a few this time or a lot this time? They can figure that part out. As long as the Force gets balanced, I feel like it probably doesn't care very much.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. Again, destiny itself is fixed, but characters themselves have the free will to kind of like choose what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, the Force is going to be like, you're doing this now because you're about to die and I need my stuff fixed.
Yeah.
But with that too, I did see a really interesting take on the Force and destiny and the future and all that as well from a different podcast. It was that one I was telling you about, and I'm not going to mention them here because I'm not the biggest fan of how they approach most things, but I thought this was actually quite well said and very interesting, is that, and I guess this would kind of go against the thought of just time itself being flexible. This would kind of say that time is fixed and things are going to play out in one way only. And their reference was, they were using Darth Maul as the example. When it comes to Force users and just kind of people as a whole, if the Force wants you to win a fight, or if the Force wants you to do this thing, you're going to do this thing. And so it's like, with Darth Maul as the example in The Phantom Menace, Darth Maul does not beat Qui-Gon because he's better than Qui-Gon. Darth Maul beats Qui-Gon because the Force wanted Darth Maul to win. But then Darth Maul loses to Obi-Wan, not because Obi-Wan's better, not because Darth Maul made mistakes of his own free will, it's because the Force wanted Darth Maul to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, from what they were saying, it was like, it doesn't matter how good you are, it doesn't matter how bad you are. If the Force wants you to win, the Force is, you're going to win. If the Force wanted Luke to show up and beat Darth Vader with literally zero training with a lightsaber, Luke was going to win. It didn't matter how skilled Darth Vader was. But that's just not what the Force wanted. It was their take on the situation. Which I thought was a really interesting interpretation. And a very interesting view on kind of the fixed or flexible question.
Well, yeah, because then that would end up making it more so fixed, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think there's a degree of that for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of one of those hand-in-hand with free will sort of things.
Yeah, they were taking it in the sense of like, the Force is micromanaging every single encounter and every single situation there is out there.
Yeah, and I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think, as I said, like, the Force is going to have certain things turn out the way it wants in the goal of achieving balance. But in between those certain moments, I feel like it's just trying to kind of flow and make some minute corrections here and there, kind of like you were saying with like all the Jedi got wiped out, so twins to try and give us the best chance of restoring balance. But other than that, how those twins are raised, how they handle themselves, that's up to them. But we're giving it, as good of a chance as we can, type of thing. But I just thought it was really interesting, their take on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I just don't agree with it.
Yeah. It's interesting, but they're wrong. So.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I will say though, I can see the argument that they make. Like they do make a solid argument for it. I just don't think they really had. I think they were too extreme in some of the interpretations of the Force and how George Lucas has talked about the Force. Yeah, I think they just applied it too liberally to Star Wars.
Gotcha.
But that is our last discussion question, though, unless you had anything else on that topic.
I don't. Here, let me ask you an additional question. What do you think of this style?
For the podcast?
Yeah.
I like it. I think there's more discussion to be had, more time for us to just kind of delve into different questions or theories or whatever.
Yeah.
And then if there's cool moments like, bringing up the whole Sam Witwer thing and in the studio, we can bring those stuff up too.
Right. Sorry, this is like number 57 for yawning. Yeah, I like the discussion better. I really liked how our tier list went. Personally, just with the discussion based stuff. So I like this. I think that quite honestly, we probably could have gotten some better questions come up with maybe. But I like the format of it.
Yeah, I agree. I will say though, for this arc in particular,
well, it's
any better questions are going to be like discussing the meaning of life type of thing, because this is very much kind of on that level of content.
Maybe we should have. But yeah, this kind of arc is kind of a little more. Well, this transitions into another question I have for you. What were your thoughts on this arc? Is there a high? Is there a low? Is there an overall rating?
I'm going to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like this arc at all.
What?
I feel, and it's not just from
like.
It's not even just from like a lack of, say, action or anything like that. It's from how distorted this arc makes Star Wars lore and the questions that come up that have already been answered. I.e., how the Force and it being in balance works. Like this arc just kind of throws all of that up in the air for a lot of people. And I've seen a lot of people reference this arc and saying, like, the concept of 2 Jedi, 2 Sith, that's balance. But that has never been balance all the way up until this arc came out, and it's been stated time and time again that that's not what balance is. But this arc is often used as evidence to say otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm not a big fan of the confusion this arc causes in a lot of Star Wars fans.
Sure.
Because most people aren't going to go and watch a bunch of videos to find the real answer. They're just going to watch the TV show and the movies, and that's all they want to watch. And
right,
that's
and
fine.
not a lot of people are even going to listen to us.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where that sentence ends.
Ah, yes.
I would agree though but not in the reasoning. I don't really care for this episode personally, this arc. Um, because like I think that it does pose some interesting that question that we talked about force and fixed versus flexible
Mm-hmm.
fate. That I think is a good question and good things to think about within Star Wars that came out of this episode. Other than that though, and things like it's one of those where it's like they're going throughout. Here's a little storyline that ends up undoing itself and really has no
Mm-hmm.
significance in the overall storyline. So it's like, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't
I,
really care for it in that sense because I don't think it contributes anything to the story
I
other
don't think
than
it
getting
does
your brain
either.
turning a little bit.
I would 100% agree with that. I don't think it does so either because it's never brought up again
Mm-mm.
within the Clone Wars, at least. Like yeah, the Mortis gods are referenced later on, but like when Ahsoka, if anybody hasn't seen the Clone Wars TV show, spoil alert, click ahead like 5 minutes or whatever.
No,
If
just leave
Ahsoka
now.
before she left the Jedi Order, was like, hey, I've had this epiphany because of the events on Mortis that I need to leave the Order and step away, there would be some credence or some a level of usefulness to this arc.
Mm-hmm.
If just something like that was included later on, but nothing of that is included. And because it's
Yeah.
like, and they completely go away from Mortis by the time you get to Rebels, and it's just the world between worlds, and Mortis just doesn't exist now, I guess, and they decided to go with something new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I feel like they could have included this arc as content, but I feel like they should not have done it with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka during the Clone Wars.
Hmm.
Now, if they did something, I don't know, in Rebels, like before we get to the world between worlds stuff, and it maybe follows Darth Vader, older Obi-Wan, and older Ahsoka in their own journeys through this Mortis planet, and we got to explore a little bit, and then and then it shows Ezra finding the world between worlds, and it links to the father, the son, and the daughter in that way. I could give it some basis there, because it's like this arc of this situation unfolds, and then Ezra finds this thing to expand on it, and they link the two together properly, other than just
Mm-hmm.
there's some paintings on the walls of these three dudes you haven't seen since Clone Wars, so I guess they're kind of maybe somewhat related to each other. you know,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. This arc, as you said, just completely undoes itself, and there's really no fallout or consequences to this arc happening.
Yeah.
Because, like, Anakin has no big epiphany because his memory is erased. Obi-Wan has no big epiphany because he talks to Qui-Gon about making sure that Anakin got trained. And Ahsoka has no big epiphany because she was just basically talked down to by a vision of her older dark side self. And then they killed Ahsoka and brought her back just to, like, pull on, like, emotional strings, I guess. I don't know. Like, even that just seemed pointless to me.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is just a
that's
bad
all.
arc.
Yeah, it is.
The wildest thing, this is a horrible arc, doesn't even include Jar Jar.
Yeah, because that's like a whole new level of, because like if Jar Jar's in it, that's a given.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you by default are bad. This is like a separate category where
Yeah.
you have to earn the place to be bad. And again, I'm not saying that there's no positive sides of it, but I just did
Right.
not like it. And yeah,
Well,
low
because,
rating.
like, one of the questions that I didn't even ask because I thought it was a dumb question that I had found while we were, before the episode was, did Anakin bring balance to the Force even just for a short time while on Mortis? Even if he did, it's pointless. It doesn't matter. There's no fallout from this arc. So, like, even if the answer is yes, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, brother, I need to go to bed. Holy heck.
But I will. My last little bit. 0 high points in this arc. Like for the direct content that we get, either. You know, the questions that you can come up with from it, I guess would be a high point if we can consider that a high point.
Yeah, sure.
But my low point would just be Anakin learning about Darth Vader and then remembering literally nothing of it. Like we said, like not even like an image, not even one like freeze frame. That'd be my low point.
That's my low point as well. My high point, I'm going to say, actually, though, is just the performance of the son.
Yeah.
He's always a treat. I like Sam Witwer.
I would say credit where it's due. Sam Witwer, there's not a single character that he voices or plays or anything that I don't enjoy. He's just really good at Star Wars. You know.
Yeah.
So,
anywho, bye.
Toodles.
Bye.
Deuces.